Welcome to Subramani. This is a little difficult kind of blog for me to do because it comes from experience, learning and reading, and the source I will tell you at the end. But first of all, you should know what is investment management. Do you need investment management? Investment management is normally needed for people with a lot of money who are going to invest a lot of money in equities, in mutual funds, etc., and who need help in managing the asset allocation and things like that. Now, don't get confused between investment advice and financial advice. Financial advice is far bigger and comprehensive. That is what people will most probably need. However, if you are a family with a lot of money, you will need both. You will need financial advice and you will need investment management. What does investment management cover? I'll just tell you what it covers. So a lot of textbook definitions will tell you that it is about how to do your asset allocation. What is asset allocation we'll do separately, but this will be asset allocation. Knowing what interest rate you should expect. So you ask a CEO and he'll tell you, oh, I expect 30% return. Then you tell him, boss, every quarter when you're doing an presentation to the board, what is the rate of return that you're getting? 13%, 12%. Why do you expect 30%? Just because it is somebody else's business? So making people understand that would be financial advice, but managing that would be the investment management job. The time horizon for which you are investing, the asset classes, explaining the different asset classes. It is about also the clerical portion of investment management, of making sure that the dividends have been received, that the capital gains have been calculated, that the calculations have been shared with the chartered accountant to file the return, right? That is all part of investment management. It involves something at the strategic level. It also involves something at the practical level of filling up the forms, getting the dividends, making sure that the bank statements are in place, etc. Yes, there is a strategic level and there is a clerical level. Understanding portfolio construction, understanding risk management for you and for your whole family, right? So how much of risk are you comfortable taking? That depends on your personality. It does not depend on the investment manager. So he should talk to you, and over 4 or 5 years he will understand your risk management profile. For example, you're a very successful businessman, you have a maybe 5,000 crores kind of net worth of your company which is listed, or maybe 10,000 crores, and you now want your personal life money managed. You might say, I don't want any equity at all. Whatever risk I want to take, I'm taking in my business. Other than that, I want you to manage my debt very well. I don't mind illiquid debt. I don't mind debt which is stuck for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years because I'm getting a better yield. I don't mind distressed assets, but I will not take any equity risk. I understand when I take debt risk in lower quality of debt, it will perform more or less like mid-cap equity. I understand all that, but I do not take an equity risk because all the equity risk I'm taking in my business. Perfectly all right, right? It is about managing all those things. It is about measuring portfolio performance. You are a fund manager kind of a person because you're sitting there and allocating money to different fund managers. Then you're comparing. You're saying, why is this fund doing better than that fund? All that is part of your investment manager. It's creating a process by which the by which the whole team is able to manage the money which is being invested, the returns which are got. Returns are evaluated, fund managers are evaluated. So I'm talking of a bigger entity kind of a person. Knowing how your portfolio will perform when there is COVID. I mean, there could be COVID's elder brother coming in 2025. Knowing how you want to perform during those distressed assets. What are the charities that you want to do? When do you have to have the cash flow for the charities which are necessary? Some portion of your wealth you may want to grow, and some portion of your wealth you may want to preserve. Please understand, when you're talking of wealth management for a family, you will have short-term requirements, mid-term requirements, long-term requirements, and capital preservation. All of this, some things have to be handed over to the next generation and the generation after that. Creating heirlooms, all this is part of it. So it's a very, very difficult thing to do. You have to also be able to take a 100-year view on something, and 100-year view you can take literally only on the index fund. So you have to put some money in index funds, some money in managed funds, some money in Asia, some in Europe, some in US. You do not know what and where. All this is part of your investment management. To invest, you will have cash flows coming at various times, cash flow requirement in various times. All this is part of investment management. Right now, if you see, this is not something which a retail investor should need on a regular basis, nor is it something which he will be able to appreciate, nor does he even have this requirement. For anybody less than 5-6 crores, 10 crores, you don't need so much of detailed investment management. Your financial advisor should be able to do it. But what exactly is financial advice? Financial advice, on the other hand, is it's about managing you and making sure that you understand all that he is saying. It is about managing your emotions, managing your wife's emotions. Because a lot of businessmen will come and put money on the table with an IFA and say, I don't require this money for 35 years. And 6 months later say, oh, that money that I put, I need to take a Europe vacation. I will need 10 lakhs. Can I get it out of that? But sir, you said you don't require it for 35 years. Yeah, but my partner told me now there's a great deal coming up in Europe. And so can we go? Because just post-COVID, they're going to give a lot of discounts. So we thought we will go. Fine. His cash requirement came because of some change in the environment. Managing all this, telling him the emotions, telling him why he needs to have an investment outside his business, right? Because if he gets a fantastic opportunity in his business, he should be able to remove the money and use it in his business. It's about comprehensively making plans, making sure that there is emotional management. There are people who will feel that buying a term insurance and making a will are surest way to die. So convincing families that this is not so true. And I know there are men who have taken insurance without telling their wife that they have taken insurance. They have made the wife the nominee. You don't require the nominee's signature. So there is an insurance policy in place which the wife doesn't know. If that is what works for you, that's what works for you. Your investment advisor should know those things. You should know what will work for you in your family, what works for your daughter. And the investment advisor, the financial advisor, let's call him the financial advisor, does not have to worry about benchmarking returns, etc. He has to make sure that all your requirements and goals are met. Your daughter's wedding, daughter's education, your son's education, your expenses for your parents' pilgrimage expenses, your own travel expenses, maybe your foreign trips, maybe your domestic trips, buying of assets, etc. All these have to be met. That is the only true benchmark which a financial advisor should worry about. He should not bother about benchmarking against the index. Makes no sense. You need your money when you want it, and you should have adequate money till you die, and you should be waving your last 100 rupee bill to the undertaker and pay him off. That's it. There is nothing else that you have to do. You have to he has to sit with you and understand what are your desires, what are your goals, what are your fears, and he has to find a way around it. If you are very scared of equities, he should introduce you into equities in a very small way. Maybe you have 50 lakhs in income funds and bank fixed deposits, but he should still introduce you as 5,000 rupee per month STP or SIP, because your ability to take risk is there, but your willingness to take risk is not there. He also has to tell you, now you don't have any need to take risk. You have the willingness to take risk, but you have so much money there is absolutely no need to take risk. Your life will work perfectly with an annuity and a bank fixed deposit. You don't need any more insurance. You've crossed it. You have adequate medical insurance. Don't bother too much. Right, those kind of things. It's about implementing the plan, making sure that you are sticking to your part of his promise and he sticks to his part of his promise, and making sure that you have a great financial life. That is the job of a financial advisor. Where did I find it? Ben Carlson wrote a note about it, and I've been using it. This is a 2016 note by Ben Carlson, one of the finest writers. So I found it on his blog. Thank you.